All right. There you go, Jay.
Prepubescent teens have more facial hair than I do. It's crazy. It happens.
Newer babies have more hair than you.
I know, they do.
This is like a year. This has been
I'm
like
still waiting to hit
44.
Just waiting for my voice to crack. You want fries with that? Are we on?
We are.
Oh, okay. So I just get rambling sometimes. So, anyways.
And you're not even facing the camera. You're just like, hey.
Hi.
Okay, maybe you shouldn't because you'll probably break it.
It's all right.
So, hey guys,
Like
this is Rust Belt Bastards. I'm Matt.
Jay.
We have a special guest, Jeremy.
Jimmy.
Bad combination, Henry.
Boom.
Yeah.
So,
And shout out to my queen.
Monet Beast Mode Greenlee.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So we appreciate you guys coming on our podcast.
Appreciate it.
So you've got a fight coming up, right?
Yes.
So when and where is that gonna take
So the
place?
fight is coming up in Flint, Michigan at the Dort Financial Center.
Yeah, Dork Financial.
Well, I think it's 3501 Lapeer Road. You guys got to be there. I'm picking up my 7th belt. You know, I'm doing it for the city, for Michigan. You guys been waiting for me to do it again for 3 years now. And we about to make some magic happen.
Yep.
Cool, yeah.
Make
Very
some
cool.
history.
Cool. So why don't you kick it off, Jay? I'm sure you have a lot of questions, right? Considering you
Well,
used to
question,
fight a
but
little
like
bit.
we just like it's like
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bio about
Yeah.
you too. So it's just first of all.
So how did you get into fighting? Actually, why don't we
Man.
start there?
Like, should I give like the story? To
go deep, man. We can go
deep.
deep. We can go.
All
That's
right.
what she said.
Right, baby?
Nice.
Let me stop. She's really a good girl. You know, she's a good woman.
My wife
and
says
all
shit,
love.
so like something's walking going. It's like, oh my god, it's so you.
All love, all respect. But
All right.
you know,
anyway.
I can always start from the very, very beginning, from elementary, middle school, and high school, and me being, you know, born in Atlanta, Georgia, and moving from state to state, from Detroit and Georgia. But I'm gonna go ahead and
Make
you
it
know,
shorter.
you know, I'm gonna start it off when I really got into the martial art world. Cause when you say fighting, I've been fighting since I was a kid. But when I got into the martial art game, it was me 19 turning 20. Like I want to say August of 2013, and I ended up having my first fight in like the early part of 2014. So like within like 6 months of training, I was so serious about fighting. My brother actually got into the gym before me, and I'm the oldest out of 11, including me is 6 brothers and 5 brothers and 5 sisters.
Well, you guys are just beating each other up probably at home.
You know,
too,
with
right?
Us white guys do wrestling. Like that's what us white guys do.
Look, with an overprotective mom, and you gotta
Yeah.
stay in the house. What you expect a bunch of guys to do, you know? So,
Yeah.
so we used to watch wrestling, WWE a lot. So you know, we used to turn the house into an amusement park and a workout thing. So me and my brother used to work out and fight each other like all the time just for fun. So you know, I got to the age where you know, my brother joined the gym, and you know, I always wanted to be like Bruce Lee. I always looked it up to
I
Muhammad
think
Ali.
like that's like right when you hear Bruce
There's
Lee, that's
something really
everybody
appealing
that draws.
about
He just
Bruce
draws
Lee.
everybody in.
You
go
want to
to-
know what's the crazy part about that?
Right.
Bruce Lee passed away before I was born.
Mhm.
I was so into the Bruce Lee movies and everything that I literally was
Yeah.
coming up telling myself, I'm going to go to Hong Kong and I'm going to see Bruce Lee really soon. And I watched one of his movies.
Yeah.
And it had like a real film of him like getting pulled off into the stretcher and everything.
Right.
And it had the dates
Yeah.
on like when he passed.
And you're like, son of a bitch.
And I looked and I was like, this happened a long time.
You're like, he's not around.
Like
Sucks,
it
man.
really crushed me. But
Yeah.
so I was always into martial arts and everything like that. So when my mother picked my brother into the gym,
Yeah.
I was like 18 at the time. I was already out of my mother's house. So every time I came over, I was always like, get me in there.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? And every time I visit my mom's, she will always forget to, tell them about me. Like she got other little ones to think about. So every time I stop by my mom's house, I would go to my brother and I'm like, I'm excited. I'm so geeked up because it's a dojo. They kind of traditional. They got that a little bit. So I was like,
there's a cultural allurism.
There is of it, like it is.
And
like,
discipline, right?
There is, and it is like when you look at like the allure of just like when you hear dojo come into mind, it's like it has what is it? Like
use your words.
Like when I hear the word dojo, it's like a mystique to it, right? It's like dojo. It's like, well, what goes on, you know, and just like Bruce Lee and things like that. Like any movie that you've ever seen that has a dojo, that's where your mind goes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
So I will.
And I'm sure, like part of it's like, is there a secret death touch?
Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
So
tell me now.
Every time my brother came, every time I came home, I'd be like, "What do you do? What do you do? What you doing there? What is they showing you?" Remember, I'm the oldest.
Right.
This how he got me. This is what really like forced me to get in there.
Yeah.
You know, I always had the mindset that I need to do something more positive because I was, becoming of age of where I'd be considered.
A little bit of competitive, so with your brother.
Considered as an adult after a while, so I wanted to turn something negative into a positive. So when my brother was in there and he was like, "This is what we doing," he was, and like I said, we was working out for fun growing up. So he was like, "Get in the squat position." Oh, that's nothing. I get into the squat position. He was like, "Okay, I'm about to kick you in your stomach."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm like, you ain't about to kick me in my stomach. Like,
you bastards.
We're just sadists.
I'm big brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm big brother. Like, you're not about to get no easy licks, me in the squat position. You about to just kick on me. No. So, he's like, okay. And I fall forward again. I'm excited. So he was like, okay, get in the squat position. Yeah. So I'm excited. I get in the squat position. I'm like, it's nothing. He was like, okay, now I'm about to kick you in your legs.
Yeah.
And I was like,
why would you do that?
I'm like, what is
the world did I step into?
I'm like, what is they teaching him in there? And I'm like, if he stayed in there any longer, he's gonna try to be big brother.
Yeah.
So I was like,
you're like, I need to get my ass in there.
I gotta get in there. So every time I ask my mom to tell them I want to come, hook me up, put a word in.
Right.
She always forget. So this time, when I got to my mom's house, she was about to take him to the gym. I jumped in the van and I got in there with him. And this is how it all started because it wasn't as easy as it seems. I got in the van and dropped my brother off. He got in there. And this is how I first met Ninja Matt Carter. Yeah. He was the gatekeeper. He was holding down the door.
Go in the door.
I ain't know who he was, where he was. I ain't understand none of the aesthetics of the gym. So I see this guy just standing there, but I'm not paying attention to him. I'm just trying to walk through. Yeah. And I see the head guy right in his office because as soon as you look in, you can see the office right there. I get ready to walk in. Matt Carter. Literally like this, like who
the fuck are you?
I'm trying to get in. I'm like, bro, I'm confused. Like, what is going on? Because you go to a gym, when you go to a store,
it's like, come on in.
Yeah, it's nobody standing there like you can't get through.
It's like exit. You're trying to get into a club and it's full. It's like
right. So I'm over here. I'm looking past them and I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to get in, and the owner was like, let him in. So he let me in. I walked past. I come from a background where I'm like,
you get smacked for doing something like that.
I'm walking when he say let me in. I walk past and I'm looking like, what the hell you doing? So he like, don't mind him. It's okay. I was like, all right. Remember, I'm excited. Yeah. So I sit in the office and I'm a young kid that came from nothing, so I know it's a cost. Yeah. So I go in there and I'm like, hey, my brother's here, and I always wanted to join the gym. What can I do to be a part of it? And literally, I gave him my whole spiel, and he was like, I was like, I want to fight. I want to do all this. I want to be a part of it. He was like, we don't need you. And I was like,
you're like,
I was like it was just straight no.
yeah.
And I literally turned my chair 90 degrees. And I was like,
what the fuck?
I was like, this is one of the moments you can't take no for an answer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I was like, clean the walls, wipe the toilets. What do I gotta do? I'm serious. This is my life. Like, I really want to do it. Like, this is something I always wanted to do. Like, what do I gotta do to be a part of it?
Right.
I looked at man dead in his eyes. I did not take my eyes off of him, not once. Like, telling him how serious I was.
Right.
And he looked me dead in my eyes, and he was like, all right, how about you come on this day? Now, I remember, I did all of that to try to get in. I was like, well, I can't come on that day because I got a job interview, but how about afterwards? He was like, sure, right after your job interview, make sure you come in, and then we can see where you go from there.
Yeah.
And that was the start of me joining the gym. And ever since then, I was never looked back.
Yeah, you're
Never
hooked.
looked back. Now I'm 8 years in. I started when I was 19, turning 20. I'm 28 years old. I have over 21 fights with 6 belts, with 2 more fights lined up, and I've been independent since 2019 until now. And I had to say that because I'm very proud, and a lot of people said I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I did it. So kids, remember, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Do whatever you put your mind to. All right, just believe in yourself.
Even if you have a fucked up pinky.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
It's all in the pinky,
It's
man.
all in the
It's
pinky.
all in the pinky.
So, the first time I went to that dojo, so I told you my buddy Mark brought me there.
Yes.
It was like 2 years of him like talking me into it, and like the first time I went in there, I had hair down. This is a long time ago. I used to have hair, right? Long hair. And,
so you look like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, basically.
yeah, pretty much. Not as pansy looking, but
Back then, maybe.
Maybe. So I walk in, and I immediately walked in, and I saw a guy hanging from a chain, handcuffed, in a gi. I'm like, what the fuck?
S&M,
Like-
dude, like seriously.
Like the look of when the fuck am I gonna get out of this, right? Because it's not like, oh, I just was put it. No, it's like, how when you see in the movies people's legs
Dangling.
like they're dangling because they're too weak to stand.
Yeah.
That's how his legs were. I'm like, I'm doing what here?
That's
Is
funny.
I gonna learn fight? I'm like, fucking no. But he brought me in, and it was the same talking wise. But I was goofy, and I didn't. For me, I never thought about fighting on that part. It was just something to do.
Yes.
I've always, I think like you said with Bruce Lee
Yeah.
and everything. I think every kid that's ever seen Bruce Lee is like, oh man, that'd be fucking badass to do that, right? I remember messing around. We didn't have much money when I was growing up, so I remember when I was 12, we entered one of those contests of you get to go join the martial arts for a day. It's just to sign you on.
Right, to get it.
Which is fine, whatever. But I was like, yeah, I got there. And they showed the first thing is that good old if someone has your hair and you do that. And I went to school the next day and I was like, oh, I did this. And the kid's like, oh, please. He's like, well, here, do it. And he pulled my hair. And I went like this, and then he kicked me in the stomach. And I was like, that didn't work. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I need to go back and
Note
learn
to
more.
self, learn combos.
No. Right?
Learn the steps after that.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Right?
I remember this
I
part.
just, yeah, turn
forgot
around.
this part.
Yeah, I forgot everything. It's just put your hand on top of it. It's like how I fucking off from that till it backfired. It's fucking terrible. It's made me, I'm not going to be good at this.
Man, I walked into it with a set goal and mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's what got me to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
What put me past everybody else that was there before me and after me, and that's still there. And the reason why I'm still continuing, because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was doing. I seen it.
Right.
Even if it was up to me or somebody else, I told myself that I'm gonna hold myself accountable with or without somebody if I get myself to the position and the vision that I'm trying to get to.
And that's the hard part. Like, we both went to the same place, and like, so, like dojos, I've been to many of them, and like it is cultish.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Like,
like drink Kool-Aid cult? Those are
not that far. None of that, thank goodness. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. I was like, but like, it is like it is cultish in a way. They just are. Like when you go to places like that.
They're protective of their own, and
they
have a way of doing their own thing, right?
You got to think like when you start to see places now that are open that aren't. They have sort of veered away from the traditional.
Yes.
But then when you look at the cultish part of it, like you gotta think about, well, it's like where they're coming from and like traditional, like back in the day, it's like if you're at a place like that, then you're just fucking there,
right,
and that's it. You don't train at other places, you don't learn at other places. And I've experienced, and I think you have too. It's like, okay, it's like, well, I'm gonna go here and just like train with someone. It's not like you're leaving the place or disrespecting them. It's like you can, like you see now in UFC, was it K1? Like you see people traveling around training at different places. You just do. Like like people hook up with different people from different spots. And
they even training with their competitors sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, you do. You see a ton of people that fight in the UFC. At one point, they've trained with other people in the gym, but it's just from back in the day that wasn't it,
right?
You know, to where like now in modern times, like more modern times, like you see people veering away from that, which is good because then like I think like there's the aspect of that can be good, but it can hinder a gym too.
Yes,
it can.
Yes.
So. But it was like it is still like I've been in some like recent like within the past like couple years, and like you still see like in some places like that cultish part of it. But and part of me thinks like is that just come with the territory of like joining a martial arts place, you know? But then again, like for an owner, that's like really based on the owner too and how they operate it, to make sure like. You know, not just your place isn't like the only good place out there. Not to mean saying like leave it, but like collaborate with people.
Right.
So, which there wasn't a lot of.
With me being a part of it and being in it so deeply, not just on the fighting aspect, like I was actually right by the head guy. I was actually a part of all the gyms and building them up and breaking them down and traveling with the fighters and going, you know. So I got to see all perspectives and aspects of it.
Which is good. It's very fortunate because you learn like so much from that. Like,
and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for everything that I learned from it because now it put me in a position that now when I'm doing things on my own, I know how to conduct myself and I know how to weed certain people out and how to communicate with people within the industry of all types. So. Yeah, it put me in a great position. Like I said, I was only with that one gym all the way up until me being a part of my independence, and that was a reason for my independence because of how certain things was. I was like, you know what, I learned a lot. I stopped in a couple of other places after that. It was just like, I can't leave this place and then go here, you know?
Because a part of you do feels like it's like your family. Yes. It really does.
Yes.
Like, it is. It's like, you grew up there, and like, when I was training there, I was just fucking there. Like, that's it. Like, you know, back when I was training, it was like, I was either working or fucking training, and that's it. Like, I'd spent the night there some nights.
Right.
Like, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna work out and fall asleep, and then I'd wake up in the morning and start fucking training again.
Yes.
Like,
what a dream.
That's it.
What a dream.
But like, it is like you feel bad in a way, but then like, people, like people should know it's okay to feel that way, but then also to learn to like venture out.
Well, I think the traditionalism of the art, right, and then being part of that particular dojo, and then going to another place, you have a sense of loyalty, and with loyalty, there's there's a combination of honor to that, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you always find a little bit of a difficulty, and it can be kind of a bit of a hard decision and razor's edge in dealing with that, right?
Yeah, and like coming from like our dojo, like they taught a lot of stuff, right? A lot of different martial arts, to whereas that like even was taboo,
Right.
like back like when I started, like when you like it's like, because I started when I was like 18, and it was like, should you really like have like Hapkido, boxing, kickboxing, weapons,
Right.
Muay Thai? Like you weren't supposed to mix those. Like it's like, no, let's just teach Taekwondo here. Let's just teach boxing here, and like that was a cool part. And I think that helped the people that did fight. It really set them apart from other fighters, is because there was like a blend of all that, you know, which is good.
That's cool.
You know, so.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they tried to keep you in, so those teachings and secrets and knowledge and techniques don't go out.
Right.
I know that was one of, like I said, I know I got to understand most of the, you know, perspectives on, you know, what stays here is here, you know, type of thing.
Right.
So even though we know the death touch, but we never teach it to anybody. There's nothing.
Razak will teach you that?
So how are like so back to like you and the fighting part is like what like let's talk about like ups and downs, because like I don't think that's like talked about. You see it a little bit now because they have like Ultimate Fighter, the show. What is it? Tough, the Ultimate Fighter. Like you see ups and downs, but then that's over dramatized. You know, obviously to get ratings and people.
Right.
But like, there are ups and downs with fighters, like mentally.
Yes.
It is like fucking. It's rough.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just like training wise, like setbacks. Like, have you experienced? What have you experienced? Like.
Man, a lot. Like a lot. Like a whole lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm
it
talking
is.
about like trying to figure out like time, money, food, training. Like it was times where I was like skipping out on birthdays. Like it was so serious.
To like immediate family members, where
like,
it's like no.
I'm talking about brothers and sisters, and sometimes my mom's birthday.
Right.
Like I justified it with telling myself like it's okay for me to miss this holiday, this birthday, this family gathering, because I'm trying to make every day a holiday.
Right.
I'm working towards and fighting towards making every day a birthday, every day a Thanksgiving, every day a Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something I'm still dealing with even right now, because I ended up losing my brother at the ending of 2018, and that was another push for me to break away, venture out, and have my independence, because I wasn't getting my proper opportunities and stuff like that. I'm giving my heart and soul, and I'm doing stuff way beyond what I was supposed to be doing as a traditional person, a part of a gym would do.
Okay.
Like I'm doing things.
It is.
I'm doing things like we not just working out, getting ready for a fight.
No, it's
we
it's
doing events. I'm helping out, fixing up houses and helping out certain people's mothers' yard and fixing certain people's mothers' roofs.
It's paint the fence.
And
It's sand the floor.
Literally.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're describing right now.
Seriously, like no joke. It's not even as Mr. Miyagi nice movie type.
Right.
Like I'm literally in here fixing up a roof with no money, just to be like, when can I get my next fight?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm seriously like mowing the lawn and missing on parties and you know, I don't do the whole, you know, smoking and drinking and everything, because I want to stay one up over my opponents, because I had a late start, so that was my mentality. So I'm in this thing to show my coach, like, I'm serious. When can I get my next fight? You know what I mean?
The sacrifice.
The sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then to not get to where you was supposed to get to with all that work of training and sacrificing, doing more for this than you would do for that, and all the time you miss. Like, man, like, you know, it's times like my brother not here.
Yeah.
My brother not here.
It comes down to what you are saying in your own head. What am I doing this for?
And
right?
and if you came to all my fights from the first fight to my very last, every time before I thank God and Jesus and Allah and all of them, the first thing I say is I'm doing this for my mama, my brothers, and my sisters.
Yep.
So for me to not get all the opportunities that I believe that I deserved and that I should have had with being in that setting and being in that gym for days. I'm talking about I'm at the gym for 6 to 7 days throughout the week.
Yeah.
I'm talking about I'm at
And
the
it's
gym.
like hours.
I'm at the gym when it first opened, and I'm the last one to leave because I'm helping out cleaning up and I'm helping out closing and stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in there like I'm catching up to these guys. Like, you know, I'm able to keep up with them, so I see myself progressing. So it ain't like I'm slacking or not getting to that point
Right.
where you know.
Well, no, where it's like, okay, it's like, let's talk about opportunities and let's present and like get me geared up to like work towards some kind of goal.
Man, and there was times where fights was being passed up. Like, you can't do this fight because you wasn't at the gym to do this and you wasn't here at this time.
Right.
Well, I'm getting older now. You know, I got obligations I got to do now.
Right.
So I wasn't at the gym from 6 to 7 days throughout the week, 5 to 6 days. Like, I was still at the gym.
Right.
I was still winning.
Yeah.
And still wasn't getting opportunities. And then my goal was to get myself in a position so my brother that's not here no more can enjoy life. So my mother and my family can enjoy life. Like, I seen my mother struggle from state to state, from Georgia to Michigan, from us being in and out of the shelter as a family, from us sleeping in our vehicle. I'm talking about I came in there with a mindset.
Yeah.
And for you to not give me the opportunity I deserve, and then I lose my brother in the process. And when I went independent, I ended up having 6 fights in 1 year in MMA. Due to myself.
Yeah. That's.
I had my first MMA fight 2015 at the Joe Louis, the Diamond Frio.
Wow. Yeah.
And I
Field.
won against a guy who had more experience than me. He was a black belt weapons something, and he was
however many fights.
he was an older guy and everything. I'm a white belt, like, you know. I probably,
David and Goliath, man.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I was ready. And I went in there with the hunger and with the animal lion and gorilla.
You're Mr. T in the first fight of Rocky 3.
Seriously.
You whomped his ass.
Seriously.
You did. Because it was the mindset. You were hungry.
I think it was the first round, too.
Yeah.
And I ended up, like, pulling off moves and stuff that was, like,
the mind is
impossible.
very powerful.
You know? And
Yeah.
why didn't I get no more MMA opportunities after that?
Right.
It was MMA fights going on.
All over.
Why wasn't I not getting no more MMA fights after that?
Yeah.
To where you do have, if you're seeing a part, if you're seeing something like that happen, and then you need to take a step back and it's like, okay, what can I do to, like, do something for myself?
And that's what I did, man. Like, after my brother passed, I told myself, like, man, I'm not holding back ever again. And I'm not about to let it be in nobody's hands.
Right.
I'm going to do everything within my power.
Yeah.
And people don't understand, like, this fight game, this music game, this industry, like you said, the whole point of what we talking about right now is the mental of it.
Right.
It's a lot.
Right.
It's hard.
That's why I love, and I hate to sound cheesy, but in the one Rocky movie, when Sylvester Stallone is talking to his son, and he's like, why are you knocking me, right? He's like, well, I live in your shadow because you're so famous and you're this powerful fighter. He's like, look, you have one life, right? And he said that life is going to keep knocking you down and knocking you down. And it's how you respond to it and you get back up, because I'll be darned, you're never going to punch as hard as life can, right, at you. So the only thing you can do is get up and keep swinging, right? And it's not just fighting. I mean, that's life, right?
It is.
And you got to go from one hurdle to the next, right? And everybody's got their struggle, and everybody's got their story.
Right.
And you can see in the passion that you have and the way that you speak, it's hey man, life is motivating me and life is channeling, and you took that mindset to where you took something that was very, bad into something that's positive, and you dramatic, and you turned that into, hey, I'm going to do something positive.
Where a lot of times people unfortunately fall.
Yeah,
and they don't get up, and it's not.
They end up getting into drugs or drinking, or
and
you
it's,
name it, right?
They get a bad way, and like sometimes they don't.
The way you turn that into something for yourself to be proud of, right? Like that's awesome, man. That's really cool.
I appreciate that. Like I really do appreciate that, because I lost my brother at the beginning of December 2018. I did that Donna Frio fight.
Right. That was
2019 in I think May. That's not a lot of time to recover from a grieving situation.
No, it's not. Right.
And literally,
and when you do that, you have to like shut everything out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like something.
Yeah.
You know,
I can relate to somebody outside of that perspective, in knowing you when you were getting prepared for fights, right?
Nothing, man.
I would mess with you, and he would be blank, right? He would literally be like, his mind was set on the fight, focusing, and I could tell you were. I don't know if agitated was a word, but you were really different.
Just you're in the zone, man.
You get in the zone.
You do, but like you said, and it's terrible. Like for you to adjust with like a grievance and things like that. Like it's unfortunate, but you can't deal with it at that point, right? You just it's like okay, let's bring it and use it. Yeah, you can use it for fuel
instead of shutting down and taking a break or letting it all just pile up. Like I can sleep and rest and cry forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still crying and hurting on the inside till this day. But I utilize my brother's spirit, his soul, his energy, and I told myself that this is going to be the reason why I go even harder. Yeah. And I also did it with the motivation and the mindset to be a role model for my family. Right. To let them know, like, we all got to go through our own, ways. But I wanted to be a beacon. I wanted to be a role model or just something for them to see that if Big Brother can do it. I cried in front of my siblings. I'm talking about, I'm the oldest brother. I turned into the biggest baby in the house. I ain't care.
I'm a really ugly crier.
I'm talking about I ain't care no more. But I still want to show them that you can cry and you can go through pain and you can go through hurt and you can still get up and do what you gotta do. And I went to that fight. I made sure stuff still happened the way it needed to happen. And man, it was a lot, man. It was a lot. But we made it work, man. Like I ended up fighting a guy like nobody wanted to fight me. Like they was trying to find me an opponent. I fought a guy who was 30 pounds heavier than
me. Okay, so not even in your weight class.
Not even in my weight class. And I think I can say this now. Because it's not gonna affect me now because it's in the past. I had to put weights under my nuts.
You had to put weights
under your nuts. There's things that
you had a weight strap around your quads.
I had to put tape.
Okay.
And I took.
It's that long?
No, I took.
You're like. Kudos to you.
So look, I took the weights out of the weight. I took the weights out of the weight vest just so I can make up the pounds to fight the guy. Because what I was dealing with was more weight than what the guy can put on me.
You can't put on me.
You know what I'm saying?
So I've got a funny story. So my grandfather, he was in the Navy, and he was a really amateur boxer, right? And he was just sparring with one of these guys who were a lot more skilled than he was. And boxing was just the basic boxing back then, right? They didn't have a lot of skill, but they really knew how to duck and jab and really just box your eyes out, right? Yes. And so the funny thing is I remember him telling me the story, not related to boxing, but he was helping out the doctors when they were getting their shots and check for hernia when they were entering into the service, because this was during World War II. Right. Well, this big black guy comes in, right? And the doctor's like, okay, we're going to check you for a hernia. He drops trowel, And I kid you not, my grandfather was like, his dick was like this fucking long. And you want to know what he did to contain it? He tied a handkerchief back then to the side of his thigh.
Oh my God.
And my grandfather walks up to him and says, dude, he goes, how do you make with the ladies with that thing? And this guy's from the South, and he goes, I just give them what they want. And I was like, oh, Grandpa. I was like, what in the? Oh, my God. Your World War II stories, bro. I kid you not. I was laughing so hard, man. Oh, my God. It was just hilarious. That's the way my head went as soon as you said, like, deep around your thighs. I was like, man, what?
I'm
But
right there with you.
But it's crazy, like, fighters, you do crazy shit, like, to make weight, to gain weight, to lose weight.
Yeah.
Fucking, I remember,
that can be really risky,
I was
right?
underweight, right?
No, it was very risky.
Because they can get, because I know boxers can get, because it reduces the fluid within their brain to hold. Because when they drop so much water weight, right? If they do too much, they can easily rupture a lot of, I'll say, bust a lot of stuff loose in their head, right? That can be really detrimental in boxing.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You gotta be careful with that shit.
Yeah.
I remember one of the guys I fought, like, I saw him and I was like, oh, I just heard him call the name and they had the brackets. I'm like, oh, that's that guy, right? And I remember I was walking around in the hotel and I, like, pretty much whenever I fought, I was, like, right dead at weight. I was like, sweet. Didn't ever have to really worry that much. And I saw my guy and he's in the sauna, jump roping, you know, with the whole fucking sweat outfit on. Then, like, the sweat, sweatpants and sweatshirt over there. I'm like, fuck, man. I look at him. I'm like, hey, man, you all right? And he's just like, and so, he like collapsed, right? He almost passed out. The people that were in there with him opened the door, and they carried him out, and he's literally laying on this bench, looking like fucking death. And I'm like, hey man, I'll see you in the ring tomorrow. It's like I'm fighting you. I was just like, I walked out. I'm like, this is gonna be a piece of fucking cake. I was like, but it was. He got in the ring, and you could tell, like, sometimes, like, they're not all there. It wasn't. He was just. Yeah. You gotta take advantage of it, of course. Yeah. Like, that was my first knockout. What is it? They're like, kick him in the head, just whoop up like that. He couldn't. You just like, it wasn't even hard, but he just was fucking went over, man. Yeah. Like, I remember I had a gain weight before, cause I weighed like 4 pounds under, and so like they're like eat the whole night, so I hardly got any sleep. Oh, and I was like, it's like, what the fuck are you gonna eat? Like, no one was open, right? Luckily, the hotel, they had it was like complimentary Chex Mix. Oh, man. And it was a big, like, fucking huge bowl, right? They just had, which back in the day, it's like, you think like now, it's like, man, it's pretty nasty. Who's sticking their fucking hands in there, right? But like, it was like this big plastic clear bowl. And I sat there and ate that Chex Mix, right? Mm-hmm. All of it. Oh and God. Then, like, they put more out. I sat there all night just eating it, and finally, like, got a nap in before the fight. But I couldn't look at Chex cereal. I couldn't look at Chex Mix. I couldn't look at that shit, like, for 3 years. Otherwise, I'd be like...
For that Donofrio show that I did for my first MMA at the Joe Louis, I had to gain weight. Yeah. I had to be 155.
So what'd you do?
And same story. So I was told that when you eat, when you go to sleep with the food on your stomach, it sits on you, right? Yeah. So I went to Texas Longhorn Roadhouse, one of those. Yeah. And I ordered they 2 most biggest steaks. I was like, I want that one, and I want that one. I want the 2 big ones, the biggest ones. So I ate one already there that day. I had ate the second steak later on that night. I didn't know you really not supposed to be eating red, heavy, thick ass steak meat before you go to sleep on your stomach. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm talking about I felt like I had a brick in my stomach. Oh yeah. And I'm talking about those 2 steaks killed me
He couldn't.
And never again. Like, I'm not big on steaks no more.
No.
Like, I don't.
It's like you eat something like
That's
that,
like-
not again. I hate Chex Mix.
Man, I'm not.
My kids eat like
That's like my half
I'm
Iron
fucking
Man's,
good.
man.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah,
'cause,
he's
like,
done Ironmans and stuff. So like,
yeah, so I love doing half Ironmans, which is like a triathlon, and so what they tell you is the 2 days before, because you're burning so many calories because you're exercising for such long distances, you've got to be able to know what your body can do, and then also what food you have to take in order to be able to keep going, right? And so what they tell you is before the race, which basically 2 days before, you load up with carbs. And then the very day before the race, you do kind of light meals, right? With a little bit of protein, a little bit of good carbs, and a little bit of fats, right? And so that you're not really because you can load the carbs for more than a couple of days as long as you're not exasperating the energy, right? So you're able to contain those. So you're able to carry the carbs you had for the 2 days before the race to all the way into the race, right? And so it's yeah, I can understand where you come from when I've done certain workouts where I've ate poorly, or I haven't eaten quickly after a long run or something to that effect, where it just lays you out, right?
it does.
So it's tricky. It can be tricky.
Yeah.
It's crazy shit.
Yeah, we plant based now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
Still
that's
a
good.
little salmon here and there, you know.
That's
you
good.
know, but-
Coming from an old guy that has inflammation in his joints because he drinks so much in his 20s and 30s. Trust me, you're going down the right road.
yeah.
But yeah.
No. So, here's what I like to get into, like the mindset of. Do you have any rituals that you do, like pre-fight, as far as like, let's say a day before, a week before, anything like to get your mind just like focused, or not really, like you're just there?
I mean, when you say ritual, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind sometimes is you know.
It can be anything. Watching TV, doing something,
I mean,
going
it's
somewhere.
It's various of things. Sometimes I like, you know, late at night, a good warm night. You know what I'm saying? I'll do what I call like my moon dance, and I'm doing like literally like, you know, Muay Thai shadow boxing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like on a hill or outside.
And that like
of the
sets you like.
man, I can just go forever, or you know, to some African drums, and it's like, as long as the drums beat in my feet, it's like moving and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, I keep myself in the mindset. But what really gets me in the mindset, like I said before, is you know, I got a consistent set goal, an end goal, and is to get my family to a certain point, or to get myself to a certain point, and it's just to stay consistent. Like,
Do you ever think anything dark, like?
Like what?
So here's what. Okay, this is why I talk about that, because like. So when I went back and talked to our instructor for a while, and I told him like what I did, he looked at me like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" Like, so like for me, like it was like it would be 2 weeks before. It'd be like 2 weeks before my fight. I would just like close myself. But people are different, like for everything.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
was, I think, the time that I ran into you.
Yeah,
talking about
and
how
like
we were just different.
I don't
just
talk
different.
to anyone, no one. It's like, it's fucked up. It's like, what the psychologically is wrong with this guy? But like, so I would
How
like,
much time you got?
like I would literally go in the basement for 2 weeks, and just like be in the dark, which is probably not healthy for you. But like I would go out and like shadow box outside in the backyard. But that's like I would be outside. I would see my family, like I'd like, okay, let's have like a meal. They would see me, but then I would go back down. And like that was like 2 weeks straight. Like just I'd be downstairs. I'd watch Kill Bill. Just like, really? And then I watched Fist of Fury. And I would watch that on like repeat, just constantly. And then like
Kill Bill 1 or 2?
The first one.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
the
That's
first
why,
one.
that's why.
And then like it's like nothing gets you in the mood than like seeing people chopped up, right? It's like I'm gonna chop this motherfucker up. Like but then like on part of that was like psychologically I would bring myself. It sounds like I would think terrible things.
Yeah.
I would think like
you have to justify the pain you're going to inflict.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Boy, it
right?
was like in my mind, I wouldn't see. I had a girlfriend for the See You Next Tuesday girl. Broke my heart. But back then it's like I cut everybody off. So like, I would think terrible things like someone kidnapped her, someone kidnapped my sister. Like, it sounds fucked up.
Fight mode, like,
Fuck yeah, I would like think like they raped her, like they're gonna rape her. It sounds disgusting, but like I would like put myself in a mindset like I wouldn't see any of my friends. I wouldn't see my like everybody that I would talk to on like a daily basis just completely shut off. And like you would think like the worst thing you could ever think of like something like somebody taking them doing to them. I would do that like on a consistent basis, like until it was like up to me to fight, like until we left. And to where it's like, I remember my buddy Sean came and like, he's a great guy, but like he gave me like overbearing.
Yeah, I can
and like I like really snapped at him to where I had apologized like after my fight when I came back home. Like, listen, man, I think I told everybody.
I think you told me that. Yeah.
Like I told everyone, like, listen, you're not gonna see me.
Yeah.
Like you're just not for like a week or 2 weeks. You're just not gonna see me because that, like for me, for psychologically, like that's a dark place to put yourself. Like for 2 weeks, like thinking like people are doing something to your family, girlfriends, and all that, and all your friends. But then I don't know. I did that for me. It sounds a little bit psychologically fucked up, but like you're like, yeah.
Can you imagine being in the corner of that ring, right, and being like, man, you know how this guy got ready for the fight?
It's like,
White just throws in the towel. I'm done. Nope.
It's like he thinks that you like kidnapped his girlfriend and raped her repeatedly. It's like, no, I didn't. I don't even know him. I'm from a different state.
I must break you.
But it was like, I don't know, like in the back of my mind, I always asked that, like wanted it, like about like what other fighters and like the rituals are, because like sometimes like you do have to go to a dark place.
Yeah.
For it. I don't know, maybe. For me I did. But
I mean, I don't go too dark. You know I got
you might need to talk to someone, Jason.
Nah, like I'm with it and I understand it as far as the, you know what I'm saying, getting yourself mindset into them. So mine's along those lines, but it's not on that dark side. I accept death.
Yeah.
As far as myself. Mm-hmm. But I look at it like you trying to take this house I'm trying to get for my mom.
Yeah. Right.
You trying to take this food. Like I look at you like you trying to steal something that I'm trying to work to.
Like it's yours.
Like you a silver spoon household. Right. You just doing this for fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? We hungry. Like you don't know. Like I was struggling. Like you trying to steal my mom a new house. What you think you gonna win against me?
Yeah.
That was my mindset. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
then I also looked at it in the mindset like you gotta kill me. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I always tell myself.
Like nothing's like I don't think if you don't have that mindset of like
you gotta kill me. Even when I would like be training with you, like when we used to be in the gym, I used to like literally look you in your eyes and I used to just like think about like all the things that you like been through and I was just like, man, I can't quit. Like, you know what I'm saying? they had it harder back in the day. But I remember like we used to go so hard. And I just recently found out what I was doing to myself. Mm-hmm. When I train, I give it 1,000%, like from start to finish. Like it may look like I'm like out of shape or anything like that, but no, I'm literally every punch, every movement, every breath, I'm giving it 1,000. Right. So it looks like I'm gassing out before everybody else, but everybody else on the floor and I'm still up. I remember I was looking at him and I felt my vision like going and he was holding mitts and he was like, you all right, man? And I was like, yeah. And I told myself, I would always tell myself, and this, I guess it'd be a dark part for me, but I always tell myself, like, if I die in training, then I wasn't meant to fight. Right. So I will always keep going until I feel like my heart about to explode and then trying to go even further because I tell myself, like, I want to stop. But I'm not gonna stop. Now, if my opponent feel like this in the ring with me, he most likely gonna stop. And if my opponent feel like how I feel, and I'm pushing myself over the edge, so if I see the both of us exhausted, I'm like, oh yeah.
You're right where you want to be.
Yeah, you like.
Let me
you
kick
got,
that
like,
second win in because I know
Right,
he's like at that breaking point because I'm at the point where like literally, like I literally be scaring myself sometimes. Like I'll be like, I can get myself a heart attack. I actually talked to one of my family members who been doing martial arts or boxing and doing MMA for some years, and he ended up going into more of the management and business side. But I was telling him about like my stories or just certain things, and he was like, what do your heart rate be when you be training or something like that?
Yeah, to where you gotta look at that, man.
And when I think I gave him a number, or I ended up checking my heart rate one time where how the treadmill, you can touch it and it kind of gauge the heart rate.
The hand sensors, yeah.
And some of them be kind of off, but I remember giving him a number and telling him about how I be feeling in training, and he was like, it's people that can train a heart into taking those type of like reps or whatever. And he said if you can have your heartbeat be in those ranges and you can contain it and control it, where it's like a heart attack level, you a whole different type of animal because you on that cusp where you can heart.
You're reminding me of the Navy SEAL David Goggins, right? So this is a guy who entered into the SEAL training. And I gave you the book about him, and he actually after
it's such a good book. I'm almost
such
done
a good
with
book. Yeah, you should give it to Jeremy, right?
It's good, man.
I think you'd like to read, right? And so it's an inspirational story where he basically comes from nothing, and he ends up entering in to try to become a Navy SEAL. And if you know anything about SEALs, right, they make you quit, right? You have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to ring that bell, I'm tapping out, right? And so they don't say, okay, no, you're done. You have to tell yourself.
Let you drown.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Pretty much.
My uncle was in the Navy.
Yeah.
So.
And so what he did was he went in once, got injured, because they can give you an injury exemption, but you didn't tap out, so they'll call you back and say, okay, we'll let you try again. He was there for the third time, and he finally made it through on the third time to become through the SEAL training, right, which is like the Hell Week and everything. And he then, I'll just say this, just look into him and read the book. I think you'll get a lot of inspiration from him because he's a guy who, I mean, broke the record for the most amount of chin-ups in a 1 day period or whatever, and it was crazy.
An obscene amount.
Right.
I think I heard about him.
And so he never gives up. He doesn't stop, and he just keeps going, and he just finds a way to figure it out and get it done and do it because he has this drive in him, and his mentality is that the brain lets you only go to 40% of your capacity, because as soon as you start feeling pain, as soon as you start feeling anxiety of some kind, it's a self-preservation mentality.
It's like, hey, let's save you.
Let's save you.
Right.
You need to back down from whatever you're doing, else you're going to kill your body, right? And so what he says is, you need to break through that 40% or that 80% or whatever that threshold is. Train your brain to say, we're not even close to done, and you just keep going. And once you break through that, you'll have that mindset to where your body will almost open itself up to be able to do all these things. But unlike me, my body just breaks down.
It's like, welcome.
Because I tried it.
You gotta live it, man. We're getting older.
Yeah.
We're older.
I had compartment syndrome. I ran so much and trained so hard for an Ironman, and I had to have surgery on my leg because the blood flow wasn't getting through the muscle. It was literally constricting itself because I was exercising so much. So I totally was.
What is that called? Like, ain't that like close to shin splints?
Yeah. It's like shin splints, but the muscle or the blood flow gets constricted because the muscle's being overused so much that think of like a hot dog or a sausage in a sheath, right? The sheath, the blood can only flow through that area, so the surgery they had to go in and open that up so the blood could flow through it, right? Because it was so restricting, right? But yeah, so it's just, from what David Goggins would say in his book and the things I read off him, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you like one of the videos I listened to like.
Yeah, it's a really inspirational.
He's like, get up, mother. I was like, get up, motherfucker. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I was like, oh shit, I gotta get up and work out. Like it's
You'll
fucking
like it.
insane,
I
man.
think
Like
you'll really like it.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
I what is it? My mom, like her health and stuff, she's trying to work on that. And I sent so like I've been waking up at like my average like 4:30 in the morning sometimes, and I try to wake up, and like I put that on. It's like like that. I ended up like sending a text to my mom. She's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? She's like, you don't send that shit to somebody at 4:30 in the morning." It's like I almost had a heart attack. some guy yelling, "Fuck you, motherfucker! Get the fuck up! What are you doing?" Good times.
Oh,
But anyways, let's plug your fight right now. So go plug yourself, like for your fight coming up, because it's.
All right, like I said before, you guys, October the 15th, Flint, Michigan, at the Dort Financial Center, 3501 Lapeer Road. We're going to be going for my 7th title back here in Michigan, where it all started at. This is Jeremy.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
Bad Combination Henry. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me under Bad Combo _ Nation on Instagram, and I also have a website, also badcombonation.com. So any updates, any information, we nation building. So if anybody want to put in that work and get on this journey, you know, I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm 24/7 with this.
Hell yeah.
Let's get it.
Nice.
All
All right. If you want to stay tuned, are you guys still up for this?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? We got it here.
We're gonna do this.
I don't know, man.
You're gonna.
I don't
got
know,
to.
man.
Hold on.
We got death in the box.
Yeah,
You feel me?
We don't gotta turn it off.
Well, we can go to
Death
the next
in the
segment.
box.
We can
And
do
that segment.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So Rust Belt
Tune
Bastards.
in.
Yep, I'm Matt. This is Jay.
Jay.
Our special guest, Jeremy.
Yep.
If y'all don't see part 2, that means we ain't survived.
Yeah, exactly. we're dead.
Please like, subscribe.
Like, subscribe,
Spread
comment, hit the notification
Spread
bell.
the word to us.
Share
Spread
the
the
crap
word
out
about
of
it.
it,
Yeah,
you
like
know?
monkeypox, so we can spread virally.
We selling tickets on hand. Contact me, please, at Jeremy Bad Combination Henry. I'm a friendly guy. We can link up, take pictures, buy a ticket, get a shirt. You know, shake your kid hand, show them how to protect themselves.
Yep.
There you go.
Let's do it, you guys. We nation building. Thank you guys for having me.
No problem,
No problem, man.
Kicking it with the bastards.
Bastards, stay classy.